Hey, Hefty, thank you for the look. And welcome in, guys. We are minutes away, perhaps even seconds away. Hefty, thank you for the look. Oh, everyone can hear me. Hold on. And welcome in, guys. We are minutes away, perhaps even seconds away. Hefty, thank you for the look. Oh, everyone can hear me. Hold on. And welcome in, guys. We are minutes. Because you could hear me on the stream. There you are. All right, everything's fixed. Everything's fixed. Don't worry about it. Now we're seconds away. Look at that. 10 seconds to go before qualifying for round 5 of Tier 2 of F1 Broke Boys. And we are, this evening, in Australia. Melbourne. You're not supposed to... You don't say it like a confused Englishman. It isn't Melbourne, nor has it ever been Melbourne. Melbourne. I actually haven't done commentating in a while, and I haven't actually been keeping up with how the standings are going in Tier 2. So let's have a quick glance at that while the drivers ready themselves in the pit lane. Lofty Pickle running away with the championship so far. 101 points at the top of the leaderboard. And in second place is Arbon with 60 points. So a 41-point gap between first and second currently in Tier 2. Smart Money is on Lofty Pickle. But there's some great contenders in this tier. Sean 10 Kart, who obviously had the disaster 10 Kart. I remember I think it was the first race of the season, maybe, when the Ferrari spun out on the start line. But has really picked up since then. Currently sitting in P4 in the championship. Batman's in here. General Jake. Gold Samurai, Broke Bitch. All kinds of exciting drivers will be on display tonight. I'll be curious. I really have no insight regarding what's going to be a good pole lap around Australia. But we can ride on board with Shelby, first driver out on track here. Warming up the tyres on the outlap as we see Perez, let's just say Perez, in the Red Bull, coming into view behind. Lots of weaving and darting around from the V-carb car. Really trying to get those tyres at optimum temperature before the lap begins. Red Bull's getting perilously close, though. And it will now actually be Perez who crosses the line first. So there you go. Maybe that's like a good strategy. Good try, Croc, but they're not going to work today, unfortunately. But maybe that's a good strat to get your lap on the commentary stream. Just overtake the guy in front on the outlap. Perez then rounds the final corner. He's going to cross the start-finish line and get us going with the first lap of today's qualifying session. A little bit of traffic ahead, but these cars should be getting out the way, we would think. Oh yeah, I have to do this stuff. Can you go into car settings to change tyres, fuel, and change parts for drag? I'm commentating, Croc. I don't know if you understand. Yes, you can, yeah. Smooth so far, but you know, I don't really know much about Australia. I don't really know what I'm talking about. Drag them nuts on your face. Oh. Welcome to the stream. Perez then approaching the final few corners. Was that an invalidation? Not quite. It looked close. A little bit of traffic as he approaches the penultimate corner. And around that sweeping right-hander. Take us into the start-finish straight. And it looks like it's going to be a 116.9. For Perez in the Red Bull, immediately outclassed by Shelby with a 116.0. So a second difference between the V-carb and the Red Bull so far. XCOM's back on Tuesday. Who else? Who's coming close to finishing? No, someone just set a lap. Agbala Job sets a 116.5. You might as well call that a 116.6, to be brutally honest. Is Razor on a lap here? I think so. Don't know if it's a particularly quick one. But it looks like it might be. Razor crosses the start-finish line with a 116.3 and puts himself provisionally into P2. Owen Howell has had a howler, 121.5. Definitely will want to go again before the session is over. Some lap times are coming in now. Max with a 117.6. That also seems pretty slow, given the spread of the rest of the field. 10 kart pips Razor's lap time by, what is that? Around about 200ths of a second. Another 116.3, but it's good enough to put him onto P2 so far on the grid in the Ferrari. I'm going to miss somebody else. I feel like an Aston Martin has just crossed the start-finish line, and they have. It's a 116.3 for Golden Egg Fryer. But let's ride on board with Lofty Pickle, the current championship leader by a whopping 41 points, setting his first lap of the session in the McLaren. Is it going to be fast enough? It's fast. Well, maybe not fast enough. A 116.2. Slightly ahead of 10 kart there in the Ferrari, but not good enough to beat that incredible 116.0 from Shelby. So Lofty Pickle, championship leader currently. P2 on the grid. Plenty of time left to go in this qualifying session, though, and plenty of time left for drama ahead. Who else have we got then? 10 kart's going to be on an in lap. Golden Egg Fryer. Parzival, is this a hot lap? No, no way. Arbon is currently on an out lap. Maybe, did he bin it on the first lap? Is that what's happened there? And it looks like we might also have... Oh no, Mel is on an out lap. Okay, and Ryan, or R7, let's just say R7 on an outlap. But Arbon then is going to cross the start-finish line and put his first lap in of the session. It should be said, sitting in P2 currently in the championship standings, but a whopping 41 points behind Lofty Pickle in P1, as I mentioned earlier. So plenty of ground to make up for the drivers chasing down the McLaren in the standings. But we're only on round 5. I think it's a 12-round season, so there's plenty of times to go. A little bit shaky there from Arbon as he catches that inside curb, but recovers nicely. And just shaves the inside line of the corner there. Going into the long, straight section now in Sector 2. .44.5 currently. We have nothing to compare it to, unfortunately. Well, I don't, because I haven't been paying attention. Let's see if Arbon can get himself anywhere near the top of the standings. It's another shaky corner as the traction betrays him. Inside curb proving pretty deadly a couple of times. And Arbon, I don't think it's going to be particularly fast, but it is at least a lap. It's a 1:17.1, which is not even good enough to get the man currently in P2 in the standings into the top 10. P12 provisionally for Arbon, and unless he can go faster, it's not going to be better than that. Looks like Max is currently on a fast lap here and approaching the final few corners, so we'll see if the Alpine driver can improve on a 1:17.3. You would think so. I think most of these drivers will probably be looking for something faster than a 1:17. He's actually not on a fast lap at all. I'm lying to you. A 1:19.1 for Lofty Pickle's teammate R7 in the other McLaren. That is not fast. Who's currently on a lap then? Let's see. There's a Ferrari. That's an out lap. There is a McLaren. 10th Cannon is going to be approaching the start-finish line to start her fast lap in a second, with Golden Egg Fryer just alongside. So let's follow 10th. Currently, with the medium tyres fixed on the previous lap, the fastest McLaren on the circuit with a 1:16.6. That seems pretty fast with the mediums, but she's got the softs on now. A big snap of oversteer. Losing all kinds of traction. She accelerates out of that corner, but you would think that even just the improvement in grip from the softer tyre compound should give this lap a little bit more oomph. And like I say, a 1:16.6 seems reasonably competitive, so even just the improvement of the tyre compound should see a pretty big improvement. And one improvement that is from Shelby, a 1:15.6 from the V-carb. Puts Shelby 0.6 of a second ahead of anybody else. And I'm including, by the way, current championship leader, 41 points out in front, Lofty Pickle. That's an incredible lap from Shelby. 10th then rounds the final corner, and she's going to cross the start-finish line. It is a lot quicker. Quick enough to put her provisionally P2 on the grid, and we can see Egg Fryer just completed his lap as well with a 1:16.2. Also knocks Lofty Pickle a little bit further down the standings. So we have a 1:16.1 and 1:16.2. Ordinarily, you would say that those times are incredibly competitive, but somehow Shelby has pulled out a 1:15.6, and it's difficult, judging off the lap time so far, to see anybody getting anywhere close to that, to be honest. Is this a fast Sector 2 from Tenkar? He is 2/10 up currently on his previous lap time, and that would be good enough to bump him a few places up the standings. So we'll ride on board with the Ferrari as he completes the final sector here. Nice and smooth, using all the track on the outside of the turn. Holds the traction well on the penultimate corner and then swings it nice and smooth around the final corner onto the start-finish straight. It looks like it's going to be a quick one. And it's a 1:15.9 from the Ferrari driver. And that is good enough to knock 10th down to 3rd and position himself nicely in P2 on the grid. So, Lofty Pickle seemed strong a moment ago with a 1:16.2. It still seems strong, but some of these drivers now, as the grip really starts to take hold of the track, are putting in some pretty fast lap times. Pickle is on an in-lap or an out-lap here or something, because he's 20 seconds away from his best time. How's Bruce Wayne doing, though? This might be a fast lap here. He's approaching the final couple of corners. Huge lock-up on the left-hand side, and he does take that Williams into the pits, so it isn't a particularly fast lap. Razor, meanwhile, by the way, I missed that one, positions himself P3 in the other Williams, a 1:16.0, so it looks like you're going to have to go faster than a 1:16 to get anywhere near the absolute front of the grid. Low fuel mode then for the Williams as he just brings that one home. Agbala Jobs. Currently on a 9,000th improvement and invalidates around the fast chicane. Maybe invalidated before that, to be honest. I wasn't really paying attention. But either way, that lap will not count. Can Parzival make any kind of improvement on a 1:16.5? We'll ride on board and see. He's going to approach timing marker for the end of Sector 2 here. And, well, it's 14 hundredths slower. But it seemed like a purple Sector 2, so if he can swing all of this final sector together, maybe Parzival can shake things up a little bit higher up the grid. I don't think it's going to be front 2 rows, really, though. But it's probably, well, you would hope it's going to be quick enough to boost him up a little bit. A 1:16.5 was the previous lap, and he does improve with another 1:16.5, 55 hundredths quicker. And the Haas is up to, provisionally, P8. Igor then seems like the only car currently on a lap. A little over 3.5 minutes to go in this qualifying session. Is he actually on a lap? I think so, yeah. I mean, that's a 4/10 improvement, so definitely on a lap. It looks like he's running a little bit low on ERS now as he's coming through the final sector. We'll gain some back here in the heavy braking zone. I think it's going to be tough for the Ferrari to put in a vast improvement at the back end of this lap, though, but we'll see as he rounds the final corner now. On the start-finish straight. Finish line is far away down the straight here in Melbourne. But it is an improvement, and it's a pretty sizable one. A 1:16.1, so we currently have a Ferrari sitting in P2 on the grid, and we have a Ferrari sitting in P4 on the grid. Igor moves himself nicely up the standings there. And knocking 10th down to the 3rd row. Plenty of drivers now on an outlap then. I'm not sure if Igor will get a chance to put another lap in. He might, if he can race back around. So we'll keep an eye on that towards the end of the session. And McLaren is on a lap here, but so far, it's a half a second improvement. And when the previous lap is a 1:18.5, I'm afraid that might just not be quick enough. Looks like the McLaren will improve by the end of this lap, but not by enough to get himself any higher up the standings, unfortunately. Owen then, looking to improve his lap time after Parzival climbed just a few places with the previous lap. Almost dips a tyre into the grass there as he approaches the DRS zone in Sector 2. And the timing board says it's a 2.5 second improvement, 2.5 tenths, excuse me, 2.5 seconds would be incredible. 2.5 tenths improvement so far. That was very close, it seemed, to an invalidation, but holds it all together. A little bit too far away, really, to benefit from any slipstream, I think, as he goes onto the start-finish straight. Swings it nicely around the final corner. Is this going to be an improvement? A 116.5 previously for the Haas. It's a 116.3. Leaps above his teammate, but no further than that. P10 and no better for Owen. So could be out in the top 10. Likely will be, to be honest, by the time this qualifying session is finished. A little bit of traffic to contend with for Bruce Wayne in the Williams as he rounds the final two corners. Looking at a 116.2, by the way, there is movement going on up in front. We'll catch up with that. But what about this one? A 115.922 from Bruce Wayne is good enough to sit him P2 currently on the grid. 10 Kart is currently on a lap. It isn't an improved lap so far, but it's not really a worse one. We'll have a look what his time's like as he approaches the end of Sector 2 here. But he currently has a Williams 2 hundredths ahead of him. Almost seemed like it might be an invalidation, but I think he's gradually improving as he approaches final few corners now of the track here in Australia. We should probably also keep up with Lofty Pickle at some point, and Tenkart loses it. Just dips a wheel onto the inside curb, loses the traction, has to abandon the lap. It will be P3 or worse for Tenkart then in the Ferrari. Lofty Pickle! What drama is this? Seems like I missed all kinds of goings on. He's trying desperately, I think, to just stay out of the way of the other drivers as people come and set their final laps for this session. Hey, P-Rad, how you doing? Thanks so much for the subscription. I'm sorry, I've got things turned off tonight for the qualifying session. 10th does not make an improvement there. Clearly had a bit of a wobble on the final lap, and she is P5 or worse on the grid. Where's Egg Fryer then? This is not a lap. Is there anybody still out on a lap? Arbomb? No, 5.5 seconds down. Looks like everybody's complete, so there we go. We have the grid more or less lined up. Incredible final lap there from Bruce Wayne, and a late shake from Tenkart in the Ferrari. It means that he will be starting on the second row of the grid here in Australia. But Shelby is the pole sitter with a frankly unbeatable 1:15.6, an incredible lap time to take pole here tonight. Bruce Wayne, closest contender, still 3 tenths off the V-carb. Lofty Pickle, by the way, I will have to review in just a second. I did mention at the start of today's session that Lofty Pickle has a 41-point lead at the front of the championship. It seems, doesn't it, unassailable. Superhuman, you might say. But currently, tonight, Lofty Pickle, starting lowly by his standards, P9 on the grid. We've got Shelby followed by Bruce Wayne, 10 Kart, Razor, 10th Cannon, Igor, DJP, Golden Egg Fryer, Lofty Pickle, and General Jake make up your top 10 as we get ready to not race, wait a few moments, wait a few minutes before the race begins. But pretty exciting qualifying session, all things considered. Here for that in-depth F1 commentary. Well, I don't know about that, but, you know, I'll try. I haven't done the commentating in a while, so you know, we'll see. I'll try and give the insight as comprehensively as I can. I think isn't Australia one of those strange ones where you have 2 DRS detection zones but 4 actual DRS zones on track? I think it's something crazy like that. Got the DRS zone on the main straight going up to the start finish line. Then around the first couple of corners straight into another DRS section. Then you have the sort of, almost want to call it a chicane, but it's not. It's like a prolonged chicane. The corners of 3 and 4, and then that sweeping right-hander of turn 5, going into the next DRS detection zone, or I should say the first one, really, of a full lap, around the tight but fast bend of turn 6. 7 and 8, barely turns, if we're being brutally honest. And into the next DRS zone that leads you up to the end of Sector 2, and that super fast long chicane between turns 9 and 10, and into the final DRS zone of the lap, at least before the start-finish straight, after turn 10, leading you into what I always think is a tricky braking zone for turn 11. Very easy to invalidate a lap there as you go around turn 11. It always feels like you can take it slightly quicker. Always feels like there's an extra little limit to push. 14 corners and some pretty high top speeds, I would think, around Melbourne tonight. A potato and a sweet potato were announcing at an F1 race. Why was the potato mad? Because he was just a commentator. Congratulations, everybody. We did it. We did it. I'm proud of us more than anything else. Thank you for that one, B-Rad. All right, let's have a look. Do not ready up until 8:30. I make that less than 60 seconds away. The race start is going to be upon us. It'll be very interesting to see what kind of a start Shelby gets in the VCARB, because that qualifying lap was so far and away ahead of the rest of the field. Pace won't always tell. Come race time. Parzival, I'm so shit. I don't think that's true. You were having a great little battle with your teammate. Where did you finish, Parzival? I don't remember. Did I say your name in the top 10? I read out the top 10. And I might have some bad news for you, Parzival. I don't think I said your name. Dad jokes without the having to have kids. Thank you, Beaver. Thank you so much. I make it 2030, so I need to keep my wits about me here, because this game likes to just start the race and not tell me a bloody thing about it. P13 lad did 4/10 quicker in AI session. Oh, in a session against the AI. Listen, Parzival, the way to look at that is there is pace left in your car. And here we go. Parzival probably can't hear me now because we're down to 5 red lights for the Melbourne Grand Prix in Australia. Away they go. The VCARB does get a pretty reasonable start, all things considered. Everything looks neat and tidy so far as the cars approach turn 1. And let's just see, is everybody making it around? There's a little bit of tussling happening a little bit further down the grid. They are 3 wide now, I think, coming into turn 4. Is it turn 4? Oh my goodness, somebody spun. Somebody spun. I think it's Parzival. I think it's Parzival has spun at the back. We better turn some things on. We better turn some things on. And unfortunately, Parzival is now 10 seconds down on the rest of the field. Had some kind of crazy spin at the back. Look at the drama happening in front, though. Sean, one of the championship contenders this season, is currently in a huge tussle with Perez in the Red Bull, Agbala Jobs in the other Red Bull. Almost slams into the wall there as he approaches the fast chicane. Gets a decent run out of it. And to be honest, his teammate Golden Egg Fryer a little bit too far back to put up any challenge. Now, how is Shelby doing? Commanding the race so far, but Bruce Wayne hot on his heels. 10 car also in the Ferrari has not drifted too far back. The first gap that's really starting to form is to this man, who, by the way, has already made up 2 places off the start. Lofty Pickle with a 41-point lead in the championship. Had a pretty poor qualifying session overall, starting P9 on the grid, but has dragged himself up to P7 and does manage to maintain the DRS to Igor in the Ferrari in front. Might be a good day for the Ferrari and the Williams cars here, though, if they can maintain their positions at the front of the field. Looks like the field is bunching back together again after all kinds of chaos was happening earlier. We'll just follow the leaders round a little bit because I think that the tension will remain high for quite a while. Luckily, though, it looks like everyone's relatively unscathed, apart from Parzival. Parzival was at one point 10 seconds down on the train of cars from 10th Cannon all the way back to 18th placed Max. But now is only about 7 seconds away, so hopefully, if Parzival hasn't got much damage, he might be able to make some of that time back up. And was that a bit of a move by DJ? It looks like he might have the run on 10 kart here going down into turn 1. It is the fastest lap of the session so far. It's pretty incredible. Keeps that inside line, elbows out, and there's nothing that 10 kart can do. The Ferrari has to yield and settle for P4, and he's now under threat. Or was under threat, I should say, from Razor in the Williams, but the Williams ends up backing out as they go into the next little section of corners. Great low move there then by DJ, and does still have the DRS to Bruce Wayne up in P2. What a great announcer. Wonder if he races. Fabled tales have been told. Not sure. I'll say that much. We got to keep up with this though. Bruce Wayne is making a push for the lead of the Grand Prix. He is ahead going into that fast chicane. You have to trust the drivers around you if you're going to make a move like that. 6th gear. And well over 100 miles an hour, but gets the overtake done. And DJ also gets the move done on the V-carb. Shelby, who had an absolutely incredible qualifying session with a lap time almost half a second quicker than the rest of the field, now has to settle for 3rd position. Lots of jostling happening, and I'm missing all kinds of drama. Lofty Pickle in the McLaren, our championship leader by a whopping 41 points. Started P9 on the grid, has now made up 4 places and is sitting at P5 as we start lap 4 of the race. Also, great low recovery drive by Sean so far. We were watching the Aston Martin a little bit further down the field earlier, and he's made up 9 places off the start of the race and is currently sitting in P10, just behind Arbon in front in the Mercedes. Everybody looks like they've got lots of battery charge, apart from these 2 men in front. Bruce Wayne looks like he might be trying to just pull out a little bit of a lead here on the cars behind. He's now 8 tenths ahead of DJ in the Alpine. But as they swing it through the DRS section, the cars behind close the gap. And it's not going to be so easy for the Williams driver to break away. There was a gap in the field before, I'm sure that there was, and there now isn't. It looks like every car is within the DRS zone of every other car all the way back to P14. Where Agbala Jobs looks like he might just be trying to break out to more than a second in front of Max. And as I am talking, General Jake in the V-carb gets himself the first penalty of the session and also loses the DRS to 10th in front. So that'll be very disappointing. Currently now has a 3-second time penalty, but I think we can be pretty clear it won't be the final penalty that we see for today's session. Right on board with the leaders again then, because we have a new leader of the race, and it is DJ, who has got around Bruce Wayne in the first few corners of lap 5. Shelby still following close behind, but very exciting at the front. I think lots of exciting things are happening all the way down the grid, but it's quite hard to take your eyes off the things that are happening at the front of the field currently. Lofty Pickle with the DRS, with that rear wing open. And the engine in hot lap, actually. Oh, and a little bit of wheel banging. That is a scary place to bring your cars together, but thankfully both drivers make it out alive. And almost side by side again as they approach the next corner. Igor then gets a run on Razor, but can't quite make the move stick. And there's chaos in front. Lofty Pickle moves into third place as Razor and DJ come together. Once again, a new leader of the Grand Prix. It is Bruce Wayne out in front. Started P2 on the grid. And now leading the race. But Lofty Pickle, what a drive so far. 6 places gained and now in a podium position. And there's going to be some jostling by the cars in front too. That is a 3-second time penalty for DJ. That's not going to do him any good as we go into the later stages of this race. And it looks like he gets a little bit of a nudge there from 10th behind. But manages to hold it all together. Losing a position to Igor in the process. By the way, what on earth happened to 10 car? I missed out on that. 10 car in the Ferrari is now back in P19. I need to see tyres. Looking at position change, I need to see tyres. What's happening? 10 car has had to pit, so may have had some damage in all the chaos that's been taking place. Lofty Pickle, by the way, now up into P2 and closing in on the race leader, who is now Shelby, the fastest man in qualifying. I just can't keep up with all the action happening in this race so far. Little bit of a gap starting to form then between 10th and Mel in the kick. Mel in the kick Sauber, starting actually on the hard tyres for this race. So perhaps that's why the kick Sauber's finding it difficult to keep up with the cars in front. But he might also be slowing down Sean slightly in the Aston Martin behind. It'd be interesting to see how the strategy calls play out. Actually, I hadn't noticed because I didn't turn the tyres on until this moment. Our race leader currently, Shelby, also started on the hard tyres. So you would think in the latter stages of the race, if Shelby can keep up this kind of pace and keep up this kind of form, we'll have the tyre advantage going into those final laps. But all kinds of things can happen. Safety cars can happen. Spins can happen. It remains to be seen. But so far, a pretty strong start. And that is Igor almost losing it in the gravel. Somehow manages to keep the Ferrari pointed in the right direction. Does lose out a couple of places, but I don't think he'll mind that too much as he stares down 10th in the Mercedes, excuse me, in front. That could have ended up a lot worse than P7. Really strong qualifying from the Ferraris for this Grand Prix, but so far the race has not really gone to plan. 10 car sitting down in 18th place with a set of medium tyres on. They will not go the distance to the end of the race, you would think. And Igor currently having to settle for P7 after that little moment. What's happening at the front then? Lofty Pickle with the rear wing open is making an approach on Shelby. He'll have another DRS section to try and get the move done here as they go round the first couple of corners. Going into the very tight right-hander of turn 3. He's still got the speed advantage, but he also, crucially, by the way, is saving ERS and has 100% battery charge. And if we go to Shelby, we can see that that doesn't... Not exactly the same, but Shelby's doing a pretty good job, to be honest, of hanging on to ERS charge themselves. The two Williams drivers... I mean, Bruce Wayne might feel a little bit hard done by, starting P2 on the grid, but so far, P3 and P4 for the Williams is a strong showing indeed. We see Lofty Pickle then make a move for the lead of the Grand Prix. P9 on the grid, no problem. And that's why he's leading the championship. Lofty Pickle will now, with all of that ERS that he's managed to charge up, might hope to try and pull away and take a commanding lead in this race. He does have the tyre advantage, you would think, on Shelby behind, but the mediums are not going to last forever. And we're probably in the window now where the difference is not so stark. And there we go, Shelby takes the lead straight back from him as they start lap 9. It's all very close together, and I think there's contact between the McLaren and the V-Carb as once again they approach the very tight right-hander of turn 3. Everything's nice and clean so far. The Williams boys not really battling too much behind. 10th, keeping up with the drivers. Look at this. It's all the way down to golden egg fryer from P1 to P7. Everybody is in a DRS train, and exciting things will be happening all the way up until the first pit stops, which are probably not too many more laps away. As we see DJ make a move on Bruce Wayne, who unfortunately has now slipped down to 5th. DJ, of course, with the time penalty, so only really ahead on track, but it's worth something. You see lots of lockups there going into... Is that turn 11, I think it might be, or turn 10 here at Australia? I always think it's quite a tricky braking zone. More lockups, though, into the penultimate corner, and all kinds of jostling for position happening in front as Lofty Pickle manages to maintain P2. 3-second time penalty for Owen. Down in P19. Really unfortunate for the Haas. I really wish Zeepkist Racing announcing was the meta for streaming. That's where Kelly really shines. Thank you, Not Sure. There is no meta for streaming, and it's certainly not this. Sean, by the way, has now pit and will be hoping, you would think, to take these hard tyres a further 19 laps to the end of the Grand Prix. I was wondering how he'd slip down the order a little bit, but generally, we can say it's a reasonably weak race from Sean, given some of his results earlier on this season. But pitting a few laps earlier than some other people, maybe? Who knows? The strategy could pay off. Might get the little undercut. And Shelby, disaster for the V-carb in front. Ends up with a 3-second time penalty. And that's going to really hurt. Lofty Pickle well within a second. And might now have chance to press home the advantage. And put himself in the best possible position to win this race. Heartbreak for Shelby. Such a fantastic qualifying and such good race management so far to be leading the field. But that 3-second time penalty will definitely play a part in the finishing position here. Cars still bunched up close together. Igor in the Ferrari having to try and close up to 10th in the Mercedes. It was P1 to P7. The DRS train, and it's now P1 to P6. Can Igor in the Ferrari? We all thought, by the way, that 10 Kart might be the faster of the two Crimson cars tonight after the qualifying session, but Igor so far proving his ability to keep the car slightly more in the white lines than his teammate. He's going to look to try and close that gap and get back in the DRS, the cars in front. But it's going to be tricky. They're pulling away, of course, on this main straight. And we have another time penalty. This time it is for Sean in the Aston Martin, who gets his first penalty of tonight's race. A 3-second time penalty. And I don't think it's going to be a terrible finish to this race for Sean. But some of the heights that he has achieved so far this season, I think so far we can probably say it's just been a little bit disappointing. That was probably a warning there as well, as he cuts the corner going through the very fast chicane. People are pitting. Lofty Pickle brings his McLaren into the pits, and will we suspect hit the hard tyres to go to the end of the race. Lots of people pitting around him. DJ also bringing the car in. 10th leaving the pit lane now with a fresh set of hard tyres. DJ, if you can believe it, has put the softs on. So it's strategy time, ladies and gentlemen. DJ has put the softs on, as we see R7, shall we just say Ryan, net himself a nice little 3-second penalty. Right then. What kind of chaos is about to take place now? You would think that the two Williams boys might be jostling for the pit box, to be honest. Razor really has the advantage in terms of choosing when he can pit. With Bruce Wayne currently sitting in P3, but it's probably going to be close between these two. They're both going to want to pit right about now this lap, realistically. Shelby, meanwhile, of course, will be very happy to stay out on those hard tyres for another maybe even 8 laps yet, as we see the back end of the Visa Cash App, Red Bull, whatever the hell it is, flailing around in the Australian heat. Razor brings the car in, and yet the the Williams cars, I will get the constructors right at some point during this race, are going to double stack, and Bruce Wayne is held up in the pit lane. It's not for very long, but it is a hold-up. He fits the hard tyres, which should take him to the end of the race. What happened there? I think he was waiting for traffic to go past. Or was I just watching the wrong car? But either way, Bruce Wayne, that is tough. Falls down to 9th position now. And all the cars in front have also pitted. Apart from Mel and Shelby out in front. So that's kind of a provisional, maybe P7, depending on the gaps to the cars in front. Pretty rough so far for Bruce Wayne. I'm really unlucky for the Williams cars that they had to do the little double stack there. Lofty Pickle then, looking to get a run on Razor here as he goes into that DRS section. No rear wing open for the Alpine of DJ in front as well. And Pickle will look to press home this advantage. He'll open the rear wing once again. Saving on the ERS a little bit, but he knows he's got the pace. Can't quite get around the Alpine as DJ takes a very defensive inside line. The thing is, though, this is basically leading the race for Lofty Pickle because there is no way, not even a chance, that DJ in front takes those soft tyres to the end of the race. So DJ will need to pit again. He also has a time penalty currently to his name. And all the time gained by Lofty Pickle on Shelby and Mel in front is going to help when those two cars decide that they have to pull into the pit lane for their mandatory tyre change too. What else is going on this race? Well, all sorts, to be honest. Parzival and Arbon. In fact, is Arbon stuck behind a ghost car here? It's a huge gap there. I don't know why I said Parzival and Arbon. Parzival and Max are incredibly close together, down in P13-14. Parzival disappointed, as we heard in the chat, with his performance in the qualifying session, and to be honest, struggling to make up much ground in the race. Is currently in the points, though. Points down to 15th place in F1 Broke Boys. And points are points are points. You know what I mean? Looks like he's going to get the run then on Max in the long DRS section as they approach the end of Sector 2. Plenty of room there for the Haas to get the move done. And still, yeah, that's the key thing here in Australia. You then still have the DRS for this next little straight as well and can build up an even firmer advantage. Meanwhile, whilst I'm just watching what's happening down the field, Lofty Pickle, even on hard tyres, makes the move on DJ and puts himself, let's be honest, in an incredibly commanding position. Now, Razor, the highest place Williams after the double stack shenanigans, is also in this battle. Igor in the Ferrari, unfortunately, now ends up with a 3-second time penalty for getting multiple warnings on track limits. So penalties are a feature. They're coming into play. All the penalties you can see on screen are 3 seconds currently, but they might even increase by the time we get to the end of this Grand Prix. I think theoretically, if Razor can keep up with DJ and Pickle here, there's a chance that he can challenge Pickle for the race win. But as I mentioned, DJ at some point is going to have to bring that Alpine into the pits. I suppose that what Razor would really like to happen is for DJ to just get out of the way and let him try and keep up with the McLaren in front, because if the Alpine loses ground to the McLaren, it's going to be really, really difficult in the closing stages of the race for Razor to really challenge Pickle's supremacy. Shelby, by the way, does finally pull into the pits and has now fitted the medium tyres, drops down to P8, which is going to be really disappointing after such a fantastic qualifying session. These mediums should go the distance, and he will have a slight tyre advantage on some of the cars around him, so may be able to make that work. Time penalty comes into play as well, though, and I think a race win is off the cards, despite a really impressive qualifying performance from the V-Carb driver. This is really a race. It's Razor and Lofty Pickle out in front, so We'll just keep half an eye on that in the standings and see what's happening as we try and focus on what some of the other drivers are getting up to. Bruce Wayne there taking it around the outside of the Aston Martin, and there you go. You see the DRS advantage in Australia now has the rear wing open with no cars in front of him, approaching that really tricky braking zone. I'm going to just say it's turn 10. I don't know if it is. It might be 11. Is it 10, 11, 12, 13, 14? I don't know. I don't know, because they call things corners, don't they? That are not corners. There's about 2 corners on a straight here in Australia, according to the official track guide. So it's completely impossible to work out, okay? Anyone who says they understand it, they don't know what they're talking about. Bruce Wayne still doesn't have a time penalty to his name, but is currently 4 seconds down on Igor and the Ferrari in front. But honestly, he showed really good pace here tonight. So might be able to make up some ground there. And if he can, he'll end up putting himself in a pretty commanding position to get really good points by the end of this race. Mel now ends up with a 3-second time penalty. The only driver, I believe, by the way, to not pit yet. Yep, there it is. Mel in the kick Sauber is the only driver yet to bring their car into the pit lane. But we'll be doing that soon, you would think. DJ has made a pass on Lofty Pickle. Probably got that done in the DRS zone as blue flags for the... Is that like the AI car of General Jake in front? All kinds of things are happening there, really. But the little battle between... Oh, and DJ loses it on the final corner. And drops down massively in the standings. Look at all the cars that have come flying past. Look at all the cars that are now in the battle for the lead of this race. We've got time penalties galore. There's another one for Igor. Is that a spin? Oh, it's all kinds of craziness happening. We have 10-second time penalties coming out. There's one for 10th. There's one for 10th. There's one for Shelby. Shelby is out. The V-carb is out. And you can see it there, I think, positioned by the side of the road as Mel comes past. Safety car, virtual safety car is out. Are we going to get a full course safety car? I mean, it looks like a full course safety car, doesn't it? Whoa. And this... What happened? What happened? I was trying to concentrate on other things that were now under VSC. Arbon taking the opportunity to basically get a bit of a free pit stop and fit some nice fresh tyres. There is a safety car on track, isn't there? But we're just under virtual safety car currently. Well, get those penalties out, because what on earth happened there? I couldn't even keep up with it. Amateur broadcasting and commentating. The man who was nearly half a second ahead of the rest of the field, Shelby in the V-carb during qualifying, is now out of the Grand Prix with a DNF. Incredible turn of events. Lofty Pickle is currently out in front, and 10th, in all the chaos, 10th was in a position to challenge, but now has a 10-second time penalty, and I think that's why she's being held in the pit lane currently. There we go. So, serve the penalty in the pits. At least it gets it off the timing board, so I don't have to look at it. Plenty of people are getting those free pit stops in as we are under VSC. Now then, here's some very interesting developments. Lofty Pickle has pitted to fit a new set of medium tyres. It does say safety. It is a safety car. It's a full safety car. Why am I seeing VSC? It seemed like there was a safety car. So this is going to be very exciting. The field is now bunched up as we approach the final 10 laps of the Grand Prix. I have no way of knowing when that safety car is coming in, to be honest. We're just going to have to try and keep an eye on it, because right now it's telling me that we're on VSC, but we're not on VSC. There is a full course safety car. The field is going to bunch together. We do have these time penalties from 5th down to 8th. You can see that Mel, Sean, DJ and Abala Jobs are all sitting with 3-second time penalties currently, as Razor gets perilously close to Perez in the Red Bull in front. The field is going to be close and the racing's going to be intense for the final few laps, even with those time penalties currently in play. Igor is out now as well, by the way, with the DNF. I tell you what I'll do, just while the safety car is rounding the final few corners, I'm going to drift into the Discord and see if anybody has anything to say. Ooh, I think Shelby's having a problem getting an illegal overtake from the Alpine. People saying the game is broken. There we go. All right, well, drama. Lots of drama. High octane action. A lap 20 under safety car conditions. Who is still yet to catch the group? Well, 10 karts. Oh, nice. My controller disconnected. 10 kart in the Ferrari, who had, let's be honest, an awful start to this race, is going to finish in the points now, because there are only 15 runners, and might even have a chance to gain some ground on the cars in front. He's not going to have the tyre advantage, because these medium tyres are now 6 laps old, but you also don't have to wear your tyres out too much while the course is under safety car conditions. So, you know, could be a little bit of a saving grace, all of this late chaos here for 10 kart. As General Jake comes into the pit lane and fits a new set of tyres. Safety car in this lap. Safety car in this lap. And the FIA has now acknowledged that there is a safety car on the track, which is nice of them. I think as we go through these final few laps then, as we watch Bruce Wayne setting the pace, now leading the Grand Prix currently. What a turn of events we are witnessing. We're going to stick with this little cluster of the top 4. Mel in the Kick Sauber, of course, close by in 5th, but with that time penalty, along with some of the drivers behind. This is where it's going to be really interesting. Bruce Wayne has 7-lap old hard tyres. Perez has 7-lap old hard tyres. Razor and Lofty Pickle have brand new, essentially, medium tyres. They're all going to be going to the end of the race. We have 9 laps of intense Grand Prix racing to finish off the Australian Grand Prix as Bruce Wayne gets the field, accelerating once again. Perez not making a move going into T1, but Lofty Pickle getting incredibly close to the Williams of Razor in front, but stays behind for now. We've got some position changes happening. Mel in the Kick Sauber losing lots and lots of positions there. The 2 Aston Martins are squeezing up the inside of the Red Bull, and Agbala Jobs almost gets overtaken by both of them. In fact, he might well get overtaken by both of them by the time they're out of this little complex of corners. Aston Martins are now sitting in P6 and P7 as it stands on track, notwithstanding penalties, of course. No DRS this lap, I believe, right? No DRS this lap, because we have to wait for one more lap, I think, for race control to enable the DRS once more. It's looking a little bit overcast in Melbourne now. If it rains before the end of this race, it will have truly had everything. That sky is ominously grey at this moment. What a race, by the way, so far from Parzival. Incredibly disappointed with his qualifying performance. But now in P8, in the top 10, time penalties for the cars in front. The late safety car might help him shoot even higher up the order. And it's all terribly exciting. 10 car, as we mentioned before. One of the people to benefit from that late safety car overtakes Mel and puts himself up into 13th place on track. Mel had a bit of a nightmare here. Is it still in AI mode? Is that what's happened? Something weird has happened to the Kick Sauber, unfortunately. Let's stay with the race leaders then, as Bruce Wayne still leads the Grand Prix, but the cars behind will now have the DRS on lap 22. We've got caution in sector 3. I have no idea why. I think it's something to do with General Jake. We're not going to worry about it too much. Rear wing open then for Perez, and Lofty Pickle, I almost missed it, with an incredible dive up the inside, takes the lead of the Grand Prix while the cars around him are battling. Absolutely ruthless driving from the McLaren. And look at all the chaos happening down the field as DJ is pushed out wide on the exit of turn 10. Cars approaching the penultimate corner now, all bunched up together. Lofty Pickle locks his front left tyre in front, but the cars behind can't make the advantage pay. We have two Williams drivers now in podium positions. Lofty Pickle leads the Grand Prix. Bruce Wayne in second. Razor in third. Parzival, if you can believe it, sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix with a 1:18.5. Don't take your eyes off this one. Razor gets the move done on his teammate Bruce Wayne and sends it up the inside of turn 3. Holds the car together nicely. Still within DRS range of Lofty Pickle out in front. All these guys need to do really is battle, yes, because they want to be jostling for position, but make sure that they don't let the current championship leader and, let's be honest, fastest man on track, Lofty Pickle, completely run away with this one. We still have, what is that, 6-7 laps to go of the Grand Prix. And the rear wing is open here for Razor as he chases down Lofty Pickle. But 24% left on the battery. He's having to burn a lot of ERS to keep in range of the McLaren. And I'm willing to bet... Oh, in fact, Lofty Pickle's ERS management right now, it looks like he doesn't have as much left as we're used to seeing. So, also struggling to really pull out a lead. But there you go. We just saw the timing chart. It was a 1.0 for a moment. Lofty Pickle is trying to pull out more than a second advantage on these cars behind. Rear wing is currently open for the Williams. He does still have the DRS. That is the fastest lap of the Grand Prix from Razor instantly, though. It is taken from him by Golden Egg Fryer. There's a point on offer, of course, for anyone inside the top 10 who can set the fastest lap. And you would think that that point is very much up for grabs now with the late drama of this race. Razor keeping close to Lofty Pickle then. For a moment, it looked like he might be drifting out of the... out of DRS range. At the same time, Bruce Wayne, with 11-lap-old hard tyres, is falling back a little bit from his teammate. Great drive, honestly, so far from Bruce Wayne. I think he was P2 on the grid. But to be sitting P3 this late stage of the race, after having double stacked behind his teammate, just goes to show the kind of chaos that has been taking place in this race. DJ gets the move done on Sean in the Aston Martin, gets around him in the DRS zone, and puts himself up into P4. Those time penalties are going to factor, though. Parzival, look at that for a move. Gets the move done on Sean nice and coolly. The Haas is up into P5 and really P4 because Parzival currently does not have a time penalty to speak of. I'm going to have to start thinking about my driver of the day at some point, and I've got no idea who to choose because there's too much craziness happening all around us. Razor sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix again, and I missed it, has taken the lead. We have a new race leader. It is Razor in the Williams. Lofty Pickle is still within a second of Bruce Wayne in third as well. The tension and the drama will be high all the way up to the finish line. You can feel it. Will it start to rain? Just bring out a thunderstorm for the final couple of laps. That'd be incredible. Does Bruce Wayne have the wing open? He does. Lofty Pickle. We've got another new race leader. The McLaren takes the lead of the Grand Prix and, crucially, will have the DRS. Ooh, surely that's a corner cut. Can we get a VAR check on that one? Surely there was a little corner cut. Will have his rear wing open going into the next straight section. A lock up on the front right. Very tricky to keep all those tyres rotating smoothly around this final twisting section of the Melbourne track. There we go. Razor is right behind Lofty Pickle, and nobody is ceding an inch all the way back to Perez, really. The two Aston Martin boys have done fantastically well, currently sitting in P6 and P7. Sean, of course, will be cursing that earlier time penalty because it looks like it's seriously going to come into play by the end of the race. But in terms of on-track racing, done very well so far. Mel, you need an invite? Can I do that? Can I do that? I don't know. Mel, I don't know how to do it. I'm not the admin. They just call me up to speak about what's happening. Did you have a disconnect, though? It sucks if that is the case. Razor takes the lead of the Grand Prix on lap 26. Gets around Lofty Pickle, and now Razor is going to have the DRS advantage going into the next straight, probably. But there is only 3 laps left. I see no point, really. Oh, my goodness. Sorry about that, Mel. One awful way to finish it. Things were looking exciting, too. There was so much drama happening towards the end of the race. There still is. You got disconnected during the safety car. Through no fault of Mel's own, the race has collapsed. Sad to hear. Maybe you'll be impressed that your AI driver has still managed to get you P14 currently on track, Mel. You're the talent, not tech support. That's right. Thank you, B-Rad. I've got 2 chats on the go, by the way. I've got YouTube and Twitch, so I'm trying to keep up with you both. I apologize if people are getting a bit freaked out by that. 10th. What happened? What happened? 10th is out. Was it a retire in the pit lane? I think it is. I think it's a retire in the pit lane from 10th. She was doing so well earlier on in the race, but Mercedes driver is out. Arbon, incredibly, is now the fastest Mercedes on track. I don't think we've been able to say that all evening. Once again, a change for the lead of the Grand Prix. Lap 27. Lofty Pickle gets around the Williams, flies past him on the DRS straight, and Lofty Pickle will once again have the rear wing open on this next straight. Razor now going to be under threat from DJ behind. Time penalty in play for DJ, but that won't matter. Takes the inside line, and a nice cool overtake on the Williams. Struggles, though, for traction coming out of turn 10 there, and they approach the penultimate corner. Razor is going to be panicking. He doesn't want DJ to lose DRS range on Lofty Pickle in front, because that could jeopardize the whole race. Still lots of shifting happening down the order. Parzival less than a second away from Sean in front. Doesn't really matter because the time penalty is going to mean that Sean finishes behind, but it is going to matter in terms of Parzival being able to open that rear wing and try and build up a bit of an advantage on the drivers behind. Golden Egg Fryer in the other Aston Martin, pulling up very close to the Haas. Bruce Wayne being killed by the hard tyres. Yeah, Bruce Wayne not having a great time of it. The strategy call was perhaps the wrong one, but like I say, at the end of the day, he was also double stacked at one point during this race. So the race right now between DJ and Lofty Pickle is not for the lead of the is not for the race win. But as we're in the we're approaching, in fact, the start of the final lap, the race is still in the balance because Razor is only about 3/10 behind Pickle in the McLaren, and we look at DJ make a move on Lofty Pickle, gets around the outside and makes the move stick. And that brings the McLaren and the Williams driver closer together as we approach the final lap. High drama here in Australia. Final lap of the race to decide it. The McLaren gets a little bit shaky as he goes around the final corner, but crucially, this might play in to Pickle's hands because he now has the DRS thanks to DJ getting that overtake done. And Razor has to drift back into third on track. No rear wing open for the Alpine. Burn all of that energy, Razor. You have to at this point. You've got to get the overtake done on the Alpine so that you can really challenge Lofty Pickle going into the final couple of sectors. As they approach now the end of Sector 1 and the start of Sector 2 coming up. Here we go then. Another DRS zone and another chance probably for the Alpine to go into the lead of the race on track. But Lofty Pickle won't mind that too much. Lofty Pickle has the engine in hot lap mode, burning lots of ERS to try and maintain the lead, but DJ gets around the outside, and the Williams pulls up close with the rear wing open. No DRS, no rear wing for Lofty Pickle here. No rear wing open. The Williams, is he going to make a dive? Not on this corner, but he's going to be incredibly close as we approach the final few corners of the Grand Prix, and almost chaos as DJ bins it and hits the wall coming out of turn 10. Final couple of corners then. Is the Williams going to be too far back to make a push for the race win? It looks like that is the case. Lofty Pickle somehow from P9 on the grid wins the race by 1/10 of a second. And Razor, with an incredible performance, has to settle for P2, but fantastic performances right the way through the field. And this might be my driver of the day here, Parzival, ends the race, I think, without any time penalties, although I'm not sure if he was involved. I probably shouldn't say that because I don't know who was responsible for any of the crashes. I don't know what happened. But Parzival gets himself a podium position by the end of the race. What an incredible drive. Parzival, who can enlighten me? What on earth happened? I was trying to keep up with all the jostling for position on track, and the next thing I know, there's like 4 DNFs, there's cars spinning, there's a V-carb up in the wall. What on earth happened to Shelby? Yeah, incredible race, Parzival. Fantastic win for Lofty Pickle. It has to be said. He was P9 on the grid and ran a perfect race, and is now just going to extend his championship league after another incredibly successful outing for the McLaren driver. But don't discount the drivers around him. Razor did incredibly well to lock in that second place, and Parzival, a fantastic comeback drive, finishes P3 and takes that final spot on the podium. We'll look down the finishing order then. Is it going to let me? Have I missed that chance already? When does it let me see what happened to everybody? Anyway, people are talking in the Discord, and I'll try and catch up with it. But there was all kinds of craziness happening. Yeah, all right. The results are already gone. I don't know. I don't know. Somebody else check it out. The results are already finished. What we know is that Lofty Pickle extends his lead at the front of the Tier 2 Championship. Razor put in a commanding and solid performance to finish P2. And I think, I'll have to go back and review it properly, but I think my driver of the day, taking up the last spot on the podium, Parzival in the Haas, a fantastic recovery drive. Just drama up until the end. I'm so sorry. I don't even know if I did a good job of commentating. I don't even think that I could keep up with it all. Heartbreak for Shelby, far and away the fastest driver on track during qualifying, and just couldn't make it stick during the race. I'm going to have to try and review some of the footage and see if we know what on earth happened to the drivers behind. Thank you, everybody, for chilling out for another round of exciting racing in F1 Broke Boys. This was Tier 2, Round 5, the Australian Grand Prix, and your winner, we have to say, once again, is Lofty Pickle in the McLaren. Good night.